They say the dead don't talk. But in 1897, in a quiet, shadow-drenched hollow of Greenbrier County, West Virginia, one very determined corpse had something to say. And what she said changed everything. It started as these things often do, with a woman found dead in her home. Young, beautiful, recently married, and inexplicably lifeless. Her name was Zona Heaster Shue. You may not have heard of her, but trust me, by the end of this story, you'll remember her because Zona didn't go quietly. No, Zona came back. Now, before we get into the ghost part, and we will, let's rewind to the land of horses, coal, and thick Appalachian fog, 1896. Zona was a seamstress with a past, and not the good kind. She'd had a child out of wedlock, which was scandalous for the time. And while the townsfolk quietly clicked their tongues, she lived her life anyway, bold and independent in a time when that was practically a sin. Now let's shift to Erasmus Dribbling Trout Shue. Yes, that was his real name. And yes, it gets worse from here. He was a blacksmith by trade, newly arrived in town, handsome in a rough-edged way, with the kind of charm that made women curious and men suspicious. Zona met him, they courted, blinked twice and boom, they were married. Just like that. And then came the cold January day when a neighbor boy, sent on an errand, pushed open the shoe house door and found Zona sprawled at the bottom of the stairs. Her body was stiff. Her feet were together, one hand stretched across her chest, the other by her side. She was wearing a crisp high-colored dress and a veil. It looked almost like she'd been laid out for burial. But wait, she hadn't been dead for long. Dr. George Knapp, the town physician, came to examine the body, or tried to. See, by the time he got there, Mr. Shue had beaten him to it, literally holding his wife's head and weeping so hard and so aggressively that the doctor couldn't get a good look at her neck. And when I say he was dramatic, I mean Shakespearean. He wailed and moaned. He clutched Zona's head to his chest, draped her in scarves, and refused to let anyone remove them. Every time someone got close, he conveniently broke down into sobs, screaming that his precious Zona had always been cold and needed her neck covered at all times. A bit too specific, wouldn't you say? Dr. Knapp, flustered and slightly afraid of causing a full-on scene, declared the death to be due to childbirth. An odd choice considering Zona hadn't even been known to be pregnant. And oh right, there was no evidence of that whatsoever. Case closed, or it would have been, if not for one very stubborn woman called Mary Jane Heaster, Zona's mother. Now, Mary Jane didn't like her son-in-law from the beginning. She said there was something off about him, that he was too slick, too controlling, and had eyes like a rattlesnake. And when Zona died, Mary Jane's grief twisted into something sharper, something colder. She just knew. She knew her daughter hadn't died of childbirth or any kind of natural cause. And here's where things take a left turn straight into the paranormal, because Mary Jane Heaster did what any grieving, furious Appalachian mother might do when she suspects murder and no one will listen. She prayed. For 4 nights, she prayed. Not your sweet bedtime kind of prayer. No, these were deep fire in the gut invocations. She begged God or whoever was listening to send her the truth. And on the 4th night, someone answered. Zona came back. Not metaphorically, not in a dream symbol kind of way. Mary Jane claimed that the literal ghost of her daughter appeared at the foot of her bed, a shimmering luminous figure, pale and angry. Zona told her mother that she had been murdered, not just murdered but strangled. Erasmus had broken her neck in a fit of rage when she said she wanted to go home to visit, and then, just to really hammer it home, the ghost turned her head 180 degrees to show her mother how it happened. Let that visual sit with you for a second. Each night, Zona returned. 4 nights in a row, she told Mary Jane how abusive Erasmus had been, how he flew into fits of violence, how he had hurt her before, and how no one ever suspected a thing. And then she vanished, leaving behind a scent of decaying roses and the sound of floorboards creaking where no one walked. Mary Jane did what any respectable ghost witness would do. She went straight to the prosecutor. Now, imagine being in the DA's office and having a local woman burst in, claiming her dead daughter's ghost just gave her a crime report. But, miraculously, the prosecutor listened. Maybe it was Mary Jane's fierce conviction. Maybe it was the town gossip finally reaching a boiling point. Or maybe, just maybe, something about Shue's behavior already smelled rotten. An investigation was reopened. Zona's body was exhumed. The townspeople, morbidly curious, gathered to watch the casket rise from the frostbitten ground. And when they examined her, well, her neck was broken, the windpipe crushed, ligaments torn, finger-shaped bruises blooming beneath the cold, pale skin. The official cause of death: manual strangulation, just like the ghost said. Mr. Erasmus Dribbling Trout Shue, ever the performative peacock, insisted he was innocent. But you know what they say about cocky killers, they always talk too much. In court, he slipped. He said things he shouldn't have known. He was caught in lie after lie about his past, about his previous marriages, oh yes, there were 2, and about a very disturbing pattern of violence. One wife had mysteriously died, the other had fled for her life, and now Zona. The jury took less than an hour to convict him of murder, life in prison, though poetic justice found him quickly. Within 3 years, Shue died in prison of an unknown cause. No one cried, no one visited. They buried him in an unmarked grave. But here's the kicker. The reason this story has never really faded, not even after more than a century, in American legal history, the Greenbrier Ghost case is the only known instance where testimony from a ghost helped convict a murderer. Yes, you read that right. A ghost solved her own murder. There's even a historical marker in Greenbrier County today, proudly acknowledging that Zona's ghost appeared to her mother and the accused was tried and found guilty of murder. Now that would have been a tidy ending, but we're not done. Because to this day, locals say that on cold nights, you can still hear footsteps creaking across the porch of the old Shue home, that women walking past feel a sudden chill around their necks, and sometimes a flash of white appears in the upstairs window before vanishing into thin air. They say Zona still lingers, not out of anger anymore, but duty. She made sure her killer didn't walk free. She made sure her story was told. But justice, it seems, doesn't always come with rest. And maybe that's the real moral here. Sometimes, the truth doesn't come from the courtroom. Sometimes, it doesn't come from the autopsy. Sometimes it walks straight out of the afterlife and whispers into your ear while you sleep.